Okay, your shocks, your struts on the rear or the front should not do this. So if you're experiencing this problem right here that you see in the video, keep watching. I'll show you how to replace them. Bundys Garage, Bundy here. Hey, today we're working on a Camry. This also works on your Avalons. To get the rear struts out, first thing I do is take the bottom rear seat cushion off, which is not hard. Then you got to take the top seat cushion off. There's 2 bolts you have to take off on both sides. Actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 bolts all together. One's for the seat belt, one is for the back seat itself. They're 12 and 14 millimeters. I don't remember exactly which ones. I think the seat belts are 14 millimeters. And then you have 2 in the middle as well, which are 14 millimeter. You have to take off, which I'm working on right there. Sped it up because it's kind of boring. Just remember which way your buckles went. You can see the buckle right there. So now I'm just sitting there in the back and put my hands where the armrest comes down, just pull them straight up. There's 3 tabs that the rear seat hangs onto. This gives you access to the 3 bolts. There's 6 in total. They're 13 millimeters. Each strut has 3 bolts on the top that hold it in place. Just getting the wheel off. Not hard at all. 21 millimeter, I believe, lug nut, or the lug nuts are 21 millimeter. Just putting a jack stand down. I'm putting on the rear. They had a tow bar on this thing, a rear hitch, and just putting it on there. Just making sure it's seated well. So right here, you have a ABS line and you have a brake line. The brake line is 12 millimeter bolt, and the brake line is a 10 millimeter bolt. You just have to pull those off. Do not let the ABS line get stretched out or hang on anything. It's kind of easy to let the suspension drop, and then the ABS line is kind of hanging there tight. Don't let that happen. Had to use my jack to keep it from actually falling down and hitting the ground, so the line wouldn't be stretched out. Got a 14 millimeter wrench there. The anti-sway bar link has to come out, and I think that's a no, I don't remember what size the hex key is. 13/16, 3/16. I'll put a picture of it right now. But you just slowly work that out. Had to use the jack to actually get the pressure off the anti-sway bar link to actually get it out. I'm putting the nut back on to try to smack it with a hammer, but it wouldn't come out. And like I said, I had to raise up the suspension for the link to actually drop out and get out of the way. See, so I raised it up right there, and it just comes out. So, boom, it's out. Boom shakalaka. 19 millimeters. There's 2 19 millimeter bolts down there. I'll show you in a second. I'm just holding it with 19 millimeter wrench and then using my Milwaukee gun, which I'll put a link down in the description below. There's one of the bolts. There's 2 down there. The anti-sway bar doesn't always come out that easily. If you need to, you can actually just replace it. You can cut that arm off. You can actually cut that where the bolt goes, cut that off if you have to, if it's really stuck. So I have both the bolts out now, and the strut is just kind of hanging there, trying to get it free and clear. If it doesn't release that easily, you can always get a pry bar and work it in between the suspension and the strut. So I have a 13 millimeter socket and wrench there. It didn't work in the very rear one because the deep socket was too deep, obviously. So I'm using a special wrench here. It's a 0 offset wrench that's ratcheting. I'll put a link in the description below to that thing. That thing is amazing. I love that wrench. Use it all the time. Timing belts, suspension work. Very, very beautiful piece of machinery right there, that tool is. So the strut has fallen down. Just pulling it out and getting out of the way. Now, one thing you want to do is when you get the new strut out is get it out of the box. Make sure that everything lines up. Everything's basically, you got to make sure that it's the same shock, because you'll be fighting battles you don't want to fight if they're different shocks and you're trying to install it into a vehicle that it doesn't apply to. Pick these up off of rockauto.com. It's a complete strut assembly. Comes with the spring, the shock. You can take the time just to replace the shock. It's just a hassle, and the springs do wear out over time. So here I'm just going back and forth comparing the two, making sure that everything lines up real nice and nice-like. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are new to Bundys Garage, so if you can, please subscribe. The reason I know this is because my analytics tell me so. So not a lot of my subscribers are watching my videos. A a lot of new people are. So if you guys are new to my channel, it really helps me out if you can subscribe. I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the putting everything back together. Installation is the reverse of removal. I just used the new nuts that are on top that came with the new strut assembly. Make sure this job wasn't hard at all. Not hard at all. Okay guys, like I said earlier in the video, I was going to show you all the tools that I used to do this job. Camry Avalon rear struts. Not a lot of tools, but one of the specific tools you guys might look into investing in, if I can say that right, is this Mountain 14 millimeter flexible ratcheting zero offset wrench. Kind of like these right here. This is a whole set that I have. If you guys are working on cars a lot, be that Hondas or Acuras or Toyota or Lexus, I would highly recommend this set. I'm not going to recommend anything to you guys that I wouldn't use myself. If this set was a piece of junk, I would tell you guys so. But so this is a zero offset wrench, long handled zero offset wrench. 14 millimeters, 15 millimeter. These wrenches are great for getting into like where timing belts are between like a frame and an engine. We got to get down there nice, and it's really tight. And most wrenches have this 15-degree offset, which is, I wish they would sell wrenches that are just straight like this, but they don't. I guess I could heat that up and pound it down. But so this wrench is just ratcheting and flexible. A lot like this set right here, and I highly recommend you get this set if you're doing a lot of work on cars. But this is the one that you saw me, I loosened and I tightened up the strut, the three strut nuts at the very top of the strut, which allowed me to tighten up very, very quickly. Used a hammer to try to get out the control arm, or the sway bar I should say. Just needed a 1/4 inch ratchet, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 19 millimeter socket to hold the lower two bolts. Need a 19 millimeter wrench to hold the nut, a 3/16 hex key, Allen key to hold the sway bar link. Have a 14 millimeter ratcheting. Have another 14 millimeter, just a standard regular wrench. And then a 12 millimeter as well. And the one piece of hardware that you guys don't have to have, but I highly recommend if you're working on a lot of cars. I didn't think I would need this. 1/2 inch electric by Milwaukee, but it has made my life so much easier. I wish I'd pulled the trigger on this years ago. If you're working on cars all day long, or you're working on cars on the weekend a lot, I cannot stress enough how helpful and how handy this thing is. I'm probably going to buy the Milwaukee 3/8 and the 1/4 inch as well. But these are great tools. Milwaukee is a great line. So there you go, guys. Like I said, all the links will be down in the description below. It really helps me and my family out when you guys subscribe. Keeps food on the table and keeps Bundy from begging for change on the off ramps of the freeway. So there you go, guys. Hope it helped you out and hope you saved you money.